Okay, so now it's time to create our getCountries function. So let's copy the name, scroll down inside of the functions.php, and after the getAge function, let's create the function, give it some description so that we know what it does. getCountry drop down menu. Okay, function getCountries, and we will only need the label this time as a parameter. Inside, first of all, we're going to create a SQL statement. So SQL equals select all from countries, order by name ASC, which means ascending, in the ascending order. Okay, now we are going to create a variable called rows, and we will assign an array of all countries populated from a database using the fetch all function which we've created earlier, SQL and semicolon. Now if we go down, before that I just want to show you actually what we're doing here. If we go to our database, we click on the countries table, you can see we've got two fields, ID and name. Obviously name is just the name of the country, ID is ID assigned to the specific record. So this is what we populate in here using the statement. I've just seen actually many here. Okay, so now we're going to create the if statement is an empty rows, then we will perform the loop, but before this we need to start with something, so we start with out. Again, very similar thing as we've done before, so we can basically copy this first line from the getAge function, which is going to be the opening select tag. Then we type out dot equal, and in between the double quotes we will type option value equals backslash double quote backslash double quote. We're using these backslashes to escape double quotes because we enclose everything inside of the double quotes. If we leave them open, obviously the code will break. So we need to make sure that every double quote inside of this double quote is escaped by the backslash. So the first one will be we'll leave the value blank, and it will simply keep the label select one and help, which will do our 3 dots after this text. Then we close option tag, and we have our out ready. Now we can perform our loop. So for each rows as row, now out dot equal option value equals backslash double quote and double quote, then dot row, and we want to assign the ID from a database as the value, then dot double quote. Then we need to obviously escape the double quote after this, and double quote again to close the statement, this line of the statement, and semicolon right at the end. So obviously this double quote here is basically from this value parameter. Then we go out dot equal again. This time we're going to use our function which we've created earlier, which is sticky drop down. Now obviously we don't have I because we don't use for loop, we use for each loop. Now what we're going to pass as the value will be simply our ID, because this is exactly what we assign into the value of this specific option tag. So labels again taken from the parameter, and the ID is taken from a database. Okay, then we continue with out dot equal. We're closing our option tag. Now after the double quote dot row, and we will display the name as a label. Then we close our option tag and we place semicolon right at the end. So this for each loop will actually display all of the values from a database. Now we finish this with out dot equal, closing select select tag, and after this one, so actually after this if closing if statement, we will type return is set out, and it will only be set if row wasn't empty, if this statement returns some values, because it starts actually inside of this if statement. So if it's set, then question mark, which means do this if it's set, so simply return out, otherwise return null. So our get countries function is ready. If we go back to our browser, we go to our page, refresh, again you can see we don't see anything. Let's have a look at the view screen. Very similar situation, only this time obviously we have sticky drop down function defined. So what might have caused this problem here? We have out rows. Oh, okay, I know what it is actually. I thought we create this fetch all function, but we haven't. As you can see, we have fetch one, but we haven't created fetch all function yet. So let's copy this function and paste, actually create it right after the fetch one. So populate array of records. Function fetch all, and we obviously will be passing a SQL statement. And function fetch all, first of all, we need to globalize our connection, conDB, and then we go MySQL select DB. Actually, why don't we just copy this here together with this RS as well, which is the record set. And after this, if we type while rows equals MySQL fetch sock rs, this is a loop, so inside of this loop what we're going to be doing, we will add to the out array rows, the entire row. So MySQL free result rs, and lastly we need to return if it isn't empty out array, then obviously return this array, otherwise return null. So now if we save, if we go back to our page, now refresh, you can see our drop down menu has appeared and we have all of our countries displayed inside of it.